Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hip Hop Vibe. This is the third episode that we're doing, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be going through each of our top 10 albums of 2021 so far. We're going to go back and forth each time with like 10. SK will do his 10, and I'll go. And then, yeah, we'll pick out some favorite songs from each album, in case you guys want to check it out. And, yeah, let's get started.
All right, so at number 10, I got All the Brilliant Things by Skyzoo. This album that dropped just recently, actually. Um, so Skyzoo's been like an artist I've like really been enjoying recently, and yeah, I think this is one of his best albums to date. It's like East Coast hip hop, right? He's from New York, and like all throughout this, all these like super like mellow and like jazzy instrumentals, and like it just elevates his rapping on like almost every track, and it's just like the whole vibe of this album is just like super dope. And his top two for me, like that came a few years ago. They're like joint projects with like nice producers because he did one with Apollo Brown and man, I can't think of a, and then Retropolitan was with someone else. I can't remember the name, but yeah, this one didn't really have like a single producer, so it was just like a bunch of different people, and all the songs like that was like the main standout to me, like the production on this, and his rapping is always great. So um my top three tracks is our Bed Stories Burning is number one, and then Bodega Flowers at number two, and then Something to Believe in at number three.
Okay. I have
Yeah.
not heard that one yet. I know it just came out. I didn't get around to listening to it yet, but I'm definitely going to check that one out because my number 10 is actually pretty similar. I didn't even realize, but yeah, my number 10 is Code of the Friend and Static Selector to Kill a Sunrise. So that's also kind of like a jazzy type of instrumental track, and Coda's from New
Mhm.
York as well. And that's the thing that stood out to me the most about this one is I've been listening to Coda for a while, and like he's from New York, but people kind of forget that sometimes because he doesn't like go off the New York style necessarily. But in this case, working with Static Selecta, they actually did kind of go into like a New York sound, and I thought it was cool to hear him that because I'm sure that's like what he kind of came up off of and being like his natural kind of sound. So I thought he did a good job with this one. One of his best albums in my opinion, but they're all pretty good. I don't necessarily have like a favorite track off of this one or a favorite couple tracks because like I feel like they all flow together really nicely. They're all kind of similar vibes and it's definitely a good just chill album, which is what Coda usually delivers, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, actually, I think I like very like briefly skimmed through that album, so I like basically don't remember anything from it. But I think I'm definitely gonna revisit it after like you put in your top 10 for
Yeah.
sure. Because I like a lot of Coda's music. It's just that like he has like I just take a few songs from his stuff and just put into playlists and stuff like that. So
Yeah, unfortunately this one kind of got left behind. I don't think many people like caught on to it, but I think more
yeah,
people should check it out again if they haven't already either. Like it's
yeah.
a good album.
I liked his album from last year.
Yeah, I think that one's a
Everything.
little better than this one,
Yeah.
but this was still pretty solid too.
All right, and then at number nine for me, I got The Voice of Heroes by Lil Baby and Lil Durk. Um, yeah, so I've been loving Lil Baby ever since like 2017. Um, so like even though people like he gets a lot of slander, I've liked everything he's put out. So I expected this to be really good, and also Dirk and him have crazy chemistry all throughout. And what I liked about this is that like they both were basically on the same level throughout the whole thing, and they really just like uplifted each other on almost every track. Well, like there was some where some like outperformed the other, but in general, like they were on like the same level. So there's not like a standout in this.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like about it. And I don't know, it's just like it was super like I don't know, it didn't feel like it dragged on too long. Like that's a common theme with trap albums, like long trap albums at least. I feel like it was really consistent all throughout. And yeah, I don't know, it's been in rotation ever since it dropped for me. Uh, my top songs would be Who I Want, Hats Off, and 2040 probably.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't like a huge fan of that album. I thought it was. Well, I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was like that good either. But yeah, one of my complaints would be that the length. I thought it was there were some tracks that could have been cut, but we disagree on that. That's fine. But I think some of the beats maybe they got stuck in the same kind of range a couple of times. But they did show some versatility. I think Lil Baby and Lil Durk are both pretty good. I like Lil Baby's solo stuff a little bit more than Lil Durk, and I think they had good chemistry. But every time you're doing a collab album, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices to make it work for each other. So I think that beat selection kind of was one of the areas that got caught up a little bit. So I still thought it was solid enough though for sure. There's a couple of tracks I liked on there.
Yeah, definitely. I think I can agree with you on like the beat selection. I felt like it was sort of stagnant. Like there wasn't too much like range when it comes to that. And for me, there's not necessarily any bad tracks, but there are a few that like if they cut out, like the album still would have been like it's the same level. So yeah, I think I can agree with you on that part too.
Okay. My number nine is from an artist that I really don't think many people know at all, but he's on the come up. He's from the abstract like hip hop scene. He's working with like
Hmm.
Mike and Mavi and those guys. His name's Sideshow, and he did a recent collab with Alchemist on that EP that he put out. I thought he did a really good job on that, so I went to check out his discography after that, and he had just dropped an album. It's called Wicked Man's Reprise, and it's really
Hmm.
unique. It's only 23 minutes long, and each track is a little bit different than the other, but good versatility and production. He has a really unique flow, of course, like with the abstract, like they're gonna be like kind of unpredictable with what they can do, but he has a good presence on every track. I think he did a good job of just doing different things with what you can do within that scene. It's a really, really budding scene, in my opinion. I love what they're doing over there now. It took me a while to understand it, but he's one of the ones that I think is really going to, show up later on. But it's still pretty rough on the edges because it's 12 tracks in 23 minutes, so there's some really short ones, some longer ones. But for the most part, I enjoy it. Should definitely check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, his name I think sounds familiar because you said he was on the Alchemist EP, right?
Yeah, he
That
was
came
on the
this year.
track with
Yeah.
Boldy James.
Oh, right.
It's called
Okay,
TV
yeah.
Dinners, I believe.
Yeah, okay. So I haven't checked out any of his like solo work or anything like that, but I'm like a huge fan of like the whole abstract hip hop scene right now, like Earl, like Navy Blue, like Billy Woods, Mavi, all them. So yeah, I feel like I definitely enjoy that. You also said he like collabs with Mike too. Mike dropped an album
Yeah,
recently,
he's
so
on the
yeah.
Mike album that came out yesterday or today.
Oh, word. Okay, I
Yeah,
haven't checked it out yet. So
he's the only
all
feature
right,
on
yeah.
there. But yeah, the best track on there that you guys should check out is and Funnel Sheets and Funnel Agenda. I don't know what that means, but it's the track with Mavi, and that's definitely the most popular one on there. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
So at number eight for me, I got The Plugs I Met Too by Benny the Butcher. This is like a really good follow-up to Plugs One, even though I think Plugs One is slightly better. And the one thing that I really liked about this is that his run, like from 2018 to 2021, has just been crazy. He's dropped Plugs, Burden Approved, Ten Talk 3, and then this one. I think that was out of order, but still, yeah, it's just like his consistency always impresses me, and like the fact that he's able to put out such like quality work, but also put out a lot of it. Um, he really and Harry Fraud's production on this is awesome. Like that's one of the best parts about the whole album, and like it's a different sort of production style for Benny compared to his other stuff. And he got some really interesting features on here. You got like Two Chains, like
Right.
French Montana,
Yeah.
and all that. But he really made it work. And I feel like when this dropped, a lot of people were like hype about it, right? But like I don't know, as like the year went on, I feel like people really stopped talking about it for some reason. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. But I said this like most of this album is still in rotation for me. So yeah, my favorite songs on this would probably be Plug Talk with Two Chains, and then When Tony Met Sosa, and then Thanksgiving. When Thanksgiving was that single he dropped like the week before the album dropped. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember when this one came out. I've only heard it twice so far. I haven't gone back to it since, but I remember I liked it. Definitely not as much as some of his other projects that he's released, but like you said, he releases a lot of stuff, so it's hard to keep it up, to the highest level, but I still think he does a good job every time for sure. It's just like sometimes you get a Griselda overload, and I think that's where I was at when that one came out. So I was like, I haven't come back to it yet, but I definitely should because obviously he plays him at one was great, had some awesome tracks on there, and Harry Fraud always does a good job for sure. So I got to go back to that one.
Yeah, I feel like that like Griselda overload is sort of what happened to a lot of people. So it just sort of got left in the dust. But yeah, no, definitely revisit it because I don't know, Loki just gets better every time I listen to it. I it was my album of the year for a good while, but yeah.
All right, my number eight is Haram by Arm& Hammer and Alchemist. Really cool album. Took me a little while to get around to that one because I just wasn't. I don't listen to. Like I said, it took me a while to get to the abstract scene in general. But yeah, Billy Woods, Elucid, Alchemist, like crazy combination on this one. And
Hmm.
I don't even think I can really pick out a favorite track on this because it all just kind of flows together really well. Like it's just a really well done album. I think Indian Summer, if I had to pick out one, it's like my favorite. But yeah, they did a great job on this. I think Alchemist with those two was just such a dope decision. Like I really liked what they did with it, and I haven't checked out their full discography together, Arm& Hammer, but I need to do that because this was really good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this one's actually like a bit higher up on my list actually, but yeah, it's a super dope album and like I think this album was my introduction to Armand Hammer and like Billy Woods and stuff. Like I've checked out like their group Discog and Billy's solo Discog after, but yeah, I don't know. And it was super dope to hear Earl Sweatshirt feature after like a good amount of time
Yeah.
because that was like the first appearance he made in a minute because it was earlier this year.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, this album's still in my rotation after months, so yeah. I'll talk more about that when like I'll give my more thoughts about it
Yeah.
when I talk about it. But yeah. All right, so about number seven, I got a Gangsta's Pain by Moneybagg Yo. And yeah, this is my trap album of the year for sure. Um I don't know, it was a pretty lengthy project, like track wise, but it's like shorter than an hour. So he was able to put on a bunch of tracks and still make it like a decent length, which I really liked. He got some really dope features. He got like Polo G, Future, some other people on there, and I don't know. He just like makes bangers left and right. Like album is super consistent. Not a single song I'd say is bad or a skip. His beat choices are always great. Like even though they're like nothing like out of this world, they're still like really enjoyable like beats. So and I don't know, his flow and like his presence on the mic are just always great. So I don't know, it's something that really like, connects with me. So yeah, I know I listen to this a lot. It's in my heavy gym rotation too. So
Okay.
um if I had to pick a favorite song, it would be Time Today or Hard for the Next with Future.
Okay, cool. I have not heard that one. I don't know much about Moneybagg Yo in general, but I should probably check that out because I haven't listened to a ton of trap projects this year. There haven't. I mean, there've definitely been some, but they're not like the mainstream trap artists for the most part.
Mhm.
So yeah, I need to look deeper into the trap scene because I'm sure there is like more diversity amongst those artists for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, this one's super enjoyable. It's like it's a fun album really, but also it's like personal. I think it's his like most vulnerable work, right? He
Okay.
put like I feel like he really like uses like album to sort of vent because like a lot of songs like thematically it's all about him talking about like his struggle and like how he's been feeling. So I mean you can tell by the title like a gangster's pain. So yeah,
Right.
but no, it's a really great album. You should definitely check it out.
I definitely will. Sounds good. All right, my number seven is I don't know if this one got as much traction as it should have, but it came out in March. It's collaborates, uh, light hit my skin. Is it pronounced collaborate or yeah, it is. But his name's Caleb. I don't know. It's just funny how he spells it like that. But yeah, I think this is a really dope album. It came out, and he's part of the underground for the most part still, but he's created some really dope tracks. He's got some good features on here: Duckworth, Red Veil, Coda, Deontay Hitchcock. So I really liked a lot of these tracks, and I wanted to give this one some praise because I listened to this a lot actually. Some of my favorite tracks on here are definitely We Make, Mud, and what is the other? Why am I forgetting? Oh, Pull Up. Yeah, Pull Up's a banger. But I think there's a lot of diversity within this. I think he put out a lot of creative ideas. I know some people didn't like it as much as his older work, but I get that. He was trying something a little bit different, but for the most part, it's a pretty upbeat, good feeling album. But he goes into some tougher topics as well, being pretty open. And yeah, I liked a lot of the tracks on here. I think it's really well done.
What would you say is like subgenre wise? Like, what would you say this is? Because I've never even heard of the guy, so I have no idea what it's like.
I mean, it's for the most part just like general like hip hop. It's got some like R&B elements to it at points, because he has some good vocal skills and there's some good features on there for sure. But yeah, it's just pretty general. It's not anything like super specific. He just kind of there's some great production on there for sure too, but he varies that as well.
All right, so you said the album artist name is Caleb, right?
Collaborate is his name,
Oh,
but
collaborate. Okay.
his name is Caleb. It's like
Oh, okay,
I don't
got
know.
it.
It's spelled kind of funny, so I was like, "Am I saying it right?" But I think I'm saying it right. And he's like pretty active with like his followers and stuff too. Like he does like Instagram lives. I think he's a really cool dude and like showing his process of how he makes this stuff. And you can tell he really enjoys the music, and I think it shows on the album.
All right, I'll definitely add that to my long list of stuff I need to listen to. There's so much that I've been missing, man. All right, so number six, I got "If It Bleeds Be Killed" by Conway the Machine and Big Ghost Ltd. This is like one of the first. Like, I wouldn't say, yeah, I think it was one of the first big drops of the year. It was like way early in the year. I think it dropped on Bandcamp exclusively at first and
Yeah.
streaming like maybe like a week after. But yeah, no, I really loved how like I don't know how Big's production and Conway's like rapping just like mixed together. It's pretty short and super consistent. Like Conway never misses really. He's always bringing his best on everything he does for the most part. And Ghost production is just super solid. So yeah, I mean I don't really have much to say. It's like it wasn't like I wouldn't say it's like a top tier type Griselda tape because it's not. It's just like another Griselda project, but it's still really good. So it made my list. Um, I think my favorite track would be "Kill All Rats" because with Ransom and Rome Streets, they just like all three of them just absolutely killed that song.
Yeah, I kind of forgot this even came out this year. I guess that was an early release, but I haven't heard it in a little while. Also, it's Conway's dropped two albums this year, which is already kind of
Hmm.
crazy. We're not even halfway, but he dropped those both in like the first third. But
Yeah.
yeah, he always has something coming out. I think he always performs at a high level. So I don't particularly remember this one, mostly because just like he's just dropped so much stuff in the past like 2 years. It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna definitely have to go back to that one because I think I liked it the first time. And yeah, Big O's production with Conway is pretty dope usually. So
Yeah, definitely. It's like short and sweet. Um, yeah, I felt like this one's also an album that most people forgot about. So
yeah, I don't know if
yeah.
Griselda's kind of doing that to themselves at a point. But yeah, hopefully people do go back to that one like I do and just to experience it again. But yeah,
Sure.
my number six is kind of related to Griselda. It is Makami's "Pray for Haiti." I really, I didn't know what to expect with this album coming into it, but I thought with like West Side Gun curating it, like it was going to be good. And yeah, it's good. I thought for the most part, he didn't really miss on any tracks. It's another not too long album. I think he did a really good job of keeping it short and to the point. And usually his albums aren't even that long, so this one's kind of longer for him, really. But it's a good length. Couple West Side Gun features on there. The God Fahim is on there too. I thought everyone performed pretty well. A couple of my favorite tracks are I don't even know how you say Folly Adu, I guess is how you say that one with West Side Gun. I think that's a great track.
Hmm.
Stellar Ray Theory is really good as well, and Rami. So yeah, shout out to Makami. He definitely drew in some more listeners with this one, because it is just kind of more well put together. I think you could say is fair because like
Hmm.
the audio on his vocals is just better. So
Oh yeah,
that's
for sure.
helpful. So I think a lot of people enjoyed this, which is probably not something people expected to enjoy, but I mean his following's grown, so shout out to him.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, this is definitely one of the best first listens I've had all year. Um, yeah, I've been a mock fan for like half a year about, I guess. So I was like really looking forward to this one and didn't disappoint. It's some of his best rapping and everything. But as you were saying, like his following grew like so much. He went from like 80,000 monthly on Spotify to like 200 plus
Yeah, I think
in
he's up
like
at like
2 weeks.
300 now.
Yeah. And because like Kevin Durant and Drake also posted on him on their stories.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
so
he
crazy.
got the stimmy. But yeah, no, this one's also higher up on my list. I lie. It's still in rotation for me. Dope, dope album.
Definitely.
And also like part of the reach is probably because he dropped it on streaming when a
Right.
lot of his stuff aren't available. So yeah. And then we're at number five. I got Haram by Armand Hammer and The Alchemist. Yeah, like you were saying, it's super like well put together, and it's like every track just flows perfectly into each other. Except there's one track that I actually hated.
Oh yeah?
Um, I can't remember the name. I think it's God's Feet or something like that.
Huh.
Um,
I don't
hold on.
remember it off the top of my head. I don't know. I felt like when I listened through it, I didn't hate any
Yeah.
of them, so maybe I don't know.
Like, yeah, for me, like when I was every time I listen through it, like I listen to it in order usually, and when that song comes on, it just ruins my vibe, so I skip it and keep going. I don't know, but yeah, other than that, no, like the album is super well put together, and the Alchemist production with Billy and Elucid rapping, like they just work perfectly together, and I'm so glad that they were able to collaborate.
Yeah.
And as I was saying before, I was like super happy to hear Earl on this. Yeah, because it was like one of his like first appearances in a while, and I've seen like people kind of slander his verse on "Falling Out the Sky," like saying it was like below average or whatever. But I don't know, I really enjoyed it. Might even be my favorite song. That or Indian Summer for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I already said my thoughts on that one, so I'll just go to my number
Yeah.
number five is Czarface and MF Doom. Super what? Awesome to get another album from MF Doom after he passed. I don't know if we'll get any more, but we'll see. But these guys have collaborated before, and they did again, and I thought it was good. It's not a super lengthy project, only 26 minutes, but 10 tracks of basically them just rapping, and I think they all did a really good job. Shout out to is it Esoteric or Eso? It's Esoteric. I always mess that up,
Yeah,
but he did
yeah,
a really good job throughout. I was really impressed by some of his verses, the lyricism, the flow, rhyme schemes, all of that. He did a fantastic job. I don't think it's like some of Doom's best performances, honestly, but he had a few in there that were really good. I think if I had to pick out a favorite, I'd probably say I really like Break in the Action and So Strange. I think those are really solid tracks. And I like Young World too. I know some people don't like that track because it's kind of corny, I guess, but I don't know. That's not something you would associate with Doom or Czarface, but I thought it was a
yeah,
good track. So, yeah, for the most part, this is pretty straightforward with just getting a lot of good tracks in there.
yeah. For me, when this dropped, like I listened to it like a lot for like the first week or two, and then I don't know for some reason I really never went back to it, so that's why I didn't make my list. But as you were saying, I was like super happy to hear another Doom project,
Yeah,
and especially since like it was basically confirmed that like most of this project was done prior to his passing. So like it wasn't anything like fabricated. It was just like what he
right. Yeah,
intended to have on here, which I appreciated from like the people who put this together. And yeah, like you said, like Doom's verses weren't like anything close to his best, but they weren't bad at all.
right.
Like I still found like I got enjoyment out of them. I think the real star of this album was Inspector Deck. Not gonna lie,
Really.
he really like I don't know. He had so many dope verses on here, but after this, I definitely want to. It reminds me to about this album. Honestly, like I kind of forgot about it, but
I mean, I'll
yeah, no, I'm definitely going to revisit this now because I really liked it when it first came out. So yeah,
Yeah, I want to counter that point about Inspector Deck actually, just because I have strong feelings about that. I thought he held the album back as a whole. I didn't think he did a good job.
you think so?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of his
Oh
verses,
man,
honestly. So, I don't know. Maybe you'll agree after you re-listen, or I don't know. But I was like kind of upset with how he performed because I thought Esoteric really outperformed him. But yeah, I don't know. Since you haven't listened
Hmm.
recently, maybe you don't remember.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so now All right, now that this is intriguing because from what I remember, Inspector Deck did pretty well on here. So, all right, you know what? I'll hit you up once I re-listen and see what if anything changes.
All right, sounds good.
Um, so number four, I got the Off Season by Mr. Cole. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed this album. Probably like a top five J. Cole project, maybe even top three. Um, like it was super anticipated
Right.
for like a few years now. So, and I definitely think he delivered. Like it lived up to the hype. His rapping on here, he was just talking his shit throughout the whole album. Like he didn't hold back on a lot of these verses. Some pretty like dope quotable lines on here. And in general, I just think that it was like really refined when it comes to his rapping and like his pen. He like sort of like dialed in. Um, and the production too was like super cool because it was really different to what like his stuff has been in the past.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that part. Um, but at the same time, I think this was just like a sort of like an entree, you know?
Yeah.
No, not an entree, an appetizer.
Appetizer. Yeah, I get you.
Um,
Yeah.
because because I feel like he has something like huge coming up with what is it called? The Fall Off. I think
Right.
that's his album, right? So this is sort of like our introduction into that album to see like what that one's going to be about. But yeah, no, this one I still really enjoy and like tracks like My Life, Pride as a Devil, Amari, and a song that really grew on me, Hunger on Hillside, Call Out My Name. Like is that what it's called? I think so, yeah. No, those are like still in constant rotation for me and the surprise features, bro. Listening to his first night,
Right.
hearing Lil Baby's verse was one of the craziest things, bro.
Yeah.
Like the way he comes in, probably one of the best moments of music this year so far.
Yeah. Um, this album didn't make my top 10, but it would be close. It would probably be like an 11, 12 range. I almost put it on, but I'm not generally like a giant like J. Cole fan. I think like he has some good albums, but I'm not like his biggest supporter. But still great to hear from like one of the bigger artists this year. I think that was an awesome moment to have. And I think he did a pretty good job for the most part, but I wasn't a huge fan of some of the production choices and I think, with it being just him mostly rapping, it felt more like a mixtape to me. And like when I'm looking for like an album, I'm looking for something to be like more developed. And I don't think that he necessarily went for that at all. And I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's just why I wouldn't, rank it as highly. But yeah, I mean, we kind of expected like the 21 Savage feature, just kind of because the video came out before and
Mhm.
he was in there. But Moray was fantastic on his feature as well. Shout out to him. Lil Baby was good. It was nice to have some features since it's been a little while because we just had Kill Edward,
Mhm.
recent on KOD. But yeah, I thought he did a good job. My favorite track on there is definitely like Close. I thought that was a really good one.
Yeah, I get that, like the whole mixtape feel. I think that's, and like you said, that's probably like he wasn't even trying to like make some like develop like cohesive type album, you know?
Yeah,
It was just like I was saying, it's sort of like an introduction to what's about to come. So yeah, um, yeah, no, it's pretty fair, like what you said about it. So yeah, what do you got for number four?
number four is from Isaac Zale and Chewy collab album called Think Good Thoughts. I really
Ooh,
like this album. It's only 9 tracks, 28 minutes, but I literally love every song. I've played it on repeat since it came out. Like I remember when it came out, like it really helped me just feel better. Like it had really good vibes throughout. Isaac and Chewy both performed at a really high level. I think this deserves a lot more attention than it's getting, because I don't know. I think it's just really well put together. A lot of great production choices. Like I said earlier with the Lil Baby and Lil Durk collab album, sometimes you have to make sacrifices to make it work. And I feel like these guys have such good chemistry that just like every track worked and they each performed at their best level. So I don't know if many people probably haven't heard this one because they're both, well, Chewy's still pretty underground, Isaac's pretty underground, and yeah, if I had to pick out a couple tracks to definitely check out, I would say Cut So Deep, Earth Sign, and Plastic Nation. Really like those songs.
man, bro, this is such a good pick. I honestly like, so for me, I remember when this came out, I did a review for Isaac, right?
Hmm.
And I really like this album. I had tracks like Ziploc and Lift It Up. I still listen to those, like especially Lift It Up. I love this song. I love that song so much. Problem with it is like I only took those two songs like and put them into a playlist, and I
Yeah.
never really revisited the album after. So I it totally slipped my mind making this list. I mean, I don't know if it would crack my top 10 because it's maybe I haven't heard it enough. But no, it definitely was a really, really dope project. I think it's because I really enjoyed Isaac's first project too,
Yeah,
and I really think that he stepped it up on this one, like
definitely.
with like the production, his rapping, like his hooks, even his singing was super dope on here. He made like some dope melodies. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy this one. It's such a like good like summer album.
Absolutely.
I've
That's
like
why it's
it's
been
like
one of my
a
most played this year, because it just since I got out of college, like right when this came out, like it's just been on repeat since. Just good vibes. I think they did a
mhm.
fantastic job.
Yeah, no, definitely a good shout putting this on here, bro. And like, yeah, for anyone who hasn't heard this yet, I definitely go. It's literally just 30 minutes, 9 songs, just super dope vibes. Definitely go listen to it.
Absolutely.
All right, so at number three, I got Pray for Haiti by Makami. Uh, yeah, so I said like it's probably my first best, what, my favorite first listen of 2021. Um, yeah, it was like this was super anticipated as well. Um, Also, like West Side Gun promoting it, he was like super like eager to get this out, and he was like praising it at such a high level before it came out. So everyone was like, their like expectations are super high, and I really think he delivered. Like, Mock's rapping on here, probably some of his best, like ever. Um, like the mixing, it was like a big critique that a lot of people have about his music is that like it's a PS4 mic,
Yeah.
right? So I know he switched it up on here. He was like super clear vocals. And he had a lot of like dope punchlines on here.
Right.
So really, and he uses a lot of illusion too, like which is dope. Like he just references so much different stuff, and he makes like dope lines out of it. One of my favorite things though is how he used the Pac song as a hook on
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
how does the line go? It's something about I don't know something about his shit. I don't even know how the bar goes, but yeah, he used it as the hook, and people were like laughing at that because like most people didn't know it was a Pac song. So I thought that was pretty funny. Um, but yeah, super dope album. I really enjoyed it. Some of my favorite songs are probably like Au revoir, Murder Season with Gun, and then Macro Jackson. That was a dope song too.
That's a good one. Yeah, a lot of the tracks are really good on there. What's the line that he says on the one track? He's like, Makami is an icon. What does he say after that? I really like that line.
Oh wait, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's funny because he doesn't have his lyrics out, and it would be even more appreciated if you could
Yeah,
read the lyrics. But
exactly.
yeah,
I
his
remember one time, there was another dude on Twitter, and he was like, "Can someone help me decipher this Mac bar?" It was from a song on Mock's Hard Lemonade, and like, I I listened to that bar like 30 times back to back, trying to decipher what he's saying, and it was like, damn, bro, I cannot put together what these words are.
yeah, at
Which is
least you could
it,
hear it for the most part on this one. So
yeah.
that's good.
I think that adds like a element of like, I mean, sort of as like a sort of this mystique, It's
Yeah,
like because he's always been sort of this like mysterious rapper, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So it
he's
just sort of adds to his whole aesthetic, kind of
yeah.
like being sort of like secretive and all that. So yeah.
It's definitely dope. Like, and I did a reaction video to the album, and like, I can't even uncopyright the songs because it recognizes the songs, but it doesn't say what the songs are because he just like kind of blocked it off YouTube in some like
Yeah.
mysterious way as well. Just a crazy guy. But yeah, my number three is this might be biased. I don't know. I haven't decided if it's biased or not, but it's Quadeca from Me to You. Um,
I knew it.
I really like Quadeca. I've been listening to him forever, so like this album is definitely his best, no doubt about it. And I want to give it praise because I listen to it a lot still, and I tried to give it unbiased review, and I still think it's pretty good as an unbiased listener. But yeah, I mean, I like the way that it flows through really well. He did a great job of the production, putting it all together. Like he does it all himself. I mean, there's a few other like co-produced tracks and beats and stuff like that, but for the most part, he really took his time to plan this out and put it together how he wanted to. He set this mountain scene for the theme of it and did a really good job. on all levels, in my opinion. I think he could probably step up his rapping in the future, but he's become more than just, you know, a fast rapper or anything like that. He actually was
Hmm.
singing and stuff and had some good hooks, so some dope features on there as well. If I my Probably my three favorite tracks: Sisyphus, Shades of Us, and It's All a Game. I think those are all really good.
Yeah, I expected you to have this pretty high on your list because I know how much of a big Quadeca fan you are. Yeah, I've been listening to Quadeca ever since he dropped Voice Memos, and I still listen to that album a good amount. When this one came out, I really enjoyed that first listen, and I pulled a few tracks out that I still really enjoy. Like Sisyphus is probably like one of his best songs to date.
Right.
This is
Probably is
like,
his best, yeah.
and the music video was just so dope. Like the cinematography in the video, and then just the song in general. It's like super vulnerable. And,
Right.
like he was just this whole album too. I think like he used it as like a way to like vent, sort of, just like put it all out there, sort of like as like an aid, you know?
Yeah, he's still really
And
young too. He probably has a lot on his mind, like stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And like every time an artist or rapper can do that, like be like genuinely vulnerable to the world in their music, I just find that really impressive.
yeah.
Um, I think the thing that stopped this from being up on my list is just because I haven't like listened to it all like a bunch, you know?
Yeah.
Like besides a few songs that I've put into playlists, like I haven't really sat down and like did a full listen like more than twice or three times, which I've been meaning to do, but
Yeah, I think it's one of those albums that I think it deserves to be listened to in order and like sit down and listen to it, you know, and not be
mhm,
doing like a ton of stuff at the same time because it's like he put a lot of ideas into it, but it's like an hour long, you know, so it can take a little while to get through it. But I think people
yeah,
should, you know, experience it as a whole. I think that's what it's meant to be. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And one thing I really appreciate is that like he does everything by himself, and like the production is definitely like way better than voice memos on here,
Right.
and that's like probably my favorite part about the whole thing. And the fact that he like I don't know, he curated the whole thing himself, self-produced, like all the rapping, put it all together himself. Like he deserves like more credit than he's been getting. But yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoyed the album. I'm definitely gonna check it out again
for
because
sure.
I like Kodaka's music a good amount. So
Yeah, I think it should, you know, be recognized as more than a YouTube rapper because it's obviously
yeah,
taken a
for
lot more
sure,
work than, you know, people are giving it credit for.
exactly. The whole like negative connotation around YouTubers and making music, I sort of understand that, but like when you see artists like Quadeca like actually make like and like music this good that has like substance and is like beyond just like whatever like meme music some people consider it to be, like it's just like sad to see that he doesn't get like enough credit for like all the
Yeah.
hard work he's put in. But yeah, at number two for me, unpopular pick, I got crucified for saying this the other day actually, but Hall of Fame by Polo G. And yeah, I don't know, everyone listening probably knows how much I like Polo G, right? And this album just proved that like he's at a level right now that most people wouldn't expect from like a new rapper, you know? Because what he debuted 2019.
Yeah.
Wait, his the hell is it called? Die for a Le- or Die Legend.
Yeah.
Um, that was a decent project, and that's the one. It didn't really get him too much like recognition, but the goat blew him up. Anyway, uh, production on this one is like was really cool. He definitely used like his biggest critique is like his piano beats, right? Like all the
Right.
piano G jokes. And my problem with that is like, yeah, I get it, it's repetitive, but like if what you're repeating is good, what's the problem? Like I get it, it can get stale sometimes, but like he works well over those like type of piano beats. And people were also complaining about how he used like five or six like guitar beats on here.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's still new, so he has a lot of time to like improve on that aspect of his music. But like he really makes like the beats he used work, and he also like did a bunch of different styles on here too. With like the production wasn't like all too stale, which is like people's biggest complaint. Also, I think his storytelling on here is really good. Like he definitely has a lot on his mind. He's been through so much, and songs like Bloody Canvas, especially, like the storytelling on there is just amazing, and he doesn't get enough credit as like a lyricist, as a rapper in general, just because people can't get over the fact that he has repetitive production, which it just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, he got really dope features on here, and we got to hear a Pop Smoke verse, which made me happy, actually. And that was a song called "Woo Shit" that like leaked a long time ago, so I used to listen to that all the time.
Oh yeah.
So hearing it on this album was like blew my mind. But yeah, he got a feature from Nicki Minaj and a few others. It was really cool to see him like working with different people, switch everything up. And yeah, my favorite tracks are like Boom, Black Hearted, Clueless, or Bloody Canvas. Like all four of those every single day rotation.
All right. I have some different opinions on this for sure.
Yeah,
First,
most people do.
first thing I'll say is I think Bloody Canvas is a good song. I think, like you said, he does a good job of storytelling on there. I don't think it's like the craziest storytelling I've ever heard, but it's real to him. I think that's important. My biggest the problem I see with Polo G is like you said, people criticize like the similar beats, and I think that the reality is like he's probably not even necessarily making those decisions, but his label is because it's selling. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna
Right.
get a ton of plays. He got number one, with this album. So
Hmm. Yeah, sold like 140K.
obviously it's something people want to hear, but I think he could do better over a lot of different stuff, and I think he's being held back by his label right now, like choosing things for him because they want him to sell more. I think he has a lot of talent. I think he's a good rapper, but I personally didn't really enjoy this album because of the repetitive nature of it. Some of the singles were released like a while ago. Like I feel like he was recording this in like two different stages of his career, and I think that kind of like broke it apart a little bit for me. But it's cool to see some good features on there for sure. I thought that all the features did a pretty good job and they made sense. Only major critique I have is like the song with Nicki Minaj. I fucking hate. I hated that
Oh,
song.
come on,
I
yo.
thought that was like one of the worst songs of the year. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I really did not like that
Oh
song.
man,
But
I like that one a lot. I like the beat so much. It's like that tropical vibe.
yeah, just it didn't really make sense to me. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's kind of out of the place, but
yeah. I don't know. He has a lot of potential in my opinion. I liked The Goat as an album. I thought he did a pretty good job of like. One thing I always say to people is like I think that he has as much potential as Corday, but he won't ever get praised for that because his beat selection is so like generic and what's popular right now. But I honestly see some similarities between them in terms of their actually rapping and stuff, but they both present it in a different way. But I don't know. I'll be looking forward to what he does in the future, but I wasn't a huge fan of the album.
yeah, no, I definitely understand like the critiques of like how it gets like stale or sort of like generic type production, all that stuff. My only thing is like I said, he's like a very new artist, right?
Yeah,
And there's definitely like label's decision at play when it comes to his beat selection and all that type of stuff. But the thing is, he has so much time to improve artistically,
yeah,
and yeah, like that, like you said, his potential is like unreal. He could, yeah, no, I would obviously love to see him switch up his production because yeah, it definitely gets boring at sometimes, but like it still sounds good, like because
yeah,
he makes those work to the
yeah.
best of his ability, and that's I guess people could get bored by that because it sounds like the same song to them. But and also with the singles, yeah, like I feel like they were like spaced out too far. But at the same time, those singles were like, really good leading up to an album.
I think yeah, the
Like
singles were some of the
Epidemic,
best songs,
Rap
but
Star, Gang Gang, those three are dope singles to lead an album. But I feel like they came out at such weird times leading up. So
yeah,
yeah, I
Epidemic
definitely
came out
agree with
like a
that
year
part.
ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah, I think the Migos did that with Need It. They dropped in 2020, and that
oh
was the
yeah,
lead
that
single
dropped
for
around
the
the
Culture
same
3.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're dropping lead singles a year before the album. I think Uzi did that with EXO Tour Life too,
I
but
mean,
like
like Travis Scott
doesn't
put
really
out
matter.
Butterfly Effect like a year and a half
Oh
before,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I don't
Yeah,
think he
I
even
don't
intended for that to happen. He was just like,
yeah.
well, I guess it's going on.
I don't understand the thought process behind that, but yeah, no, I'm proud of Polo G though. He sold hella first week. He was like his like most most first week sales by like a good margin. He beat the Migos who like pulled out all the stops to try to beat him. You see all that?
Yeah, that was
like
pretty
with the
wild, but
deluxes and then like the Offset way, Quavo way, all that.
yeah,
But yeah,
their
no, I
album
can definitely
was
understand how people like will critique this album. I personally just really enjoy it. I think it's just good music. And the
yeah.
Corday comparisons, I'm not going to get into that right now because I might make people a little unhappy with what I have to say.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'll also just add the point. I don't think it needs to be 20 tracks for a Polo G album. I think you could
Oh
cut it
yeah,
down.
yeah, definitely could have been shorter. Definitely.
All right, my number two. This one was number one for a long time. I just recently changed it, but I felt like I needed to. But it's Tyrone by Slow Tie. I really, really
Hmm.
like this album. 14 tracks and 35 minutes. It's very straight to the point. He's very, very vulnerable on this. I loved that about it. First listen, I was like, damn, he really showed off his skills, but also showed off who he is. And really happy for him. I think that this album's getting a lot of recognition, which is great. Um, each track really hits for me. I like each one really, and Skepta feature goes crazy. ASAP Rocky feature is awesome as well. Unfortunately, the Denzel Curry feature doesn't really exist, but he was on there for like a little bit of the song. I don't know why they even did that, but yeah, Deb Never adds a really good feature as well on Push, and yeah, some of the first half goes hard, the second half is really vulnerable, and I like to hear all that. I really like the track ADHD to wrap it up. It's just like he goes absolutely nuts on that. And it's just like really raw, like emotion, and I really appreciated that. And yeah, the track with Deb Never, one of my favorites as well, called Push, and I really like the track Dead as well because he shows off some different flows. And this album's definitely been on repeat a lot of the year. It's really good.
Yeah. This is actually in like my top 5 to 10 for oh shit for like a good amount of the year. Um, I think it's gonna maybe like 11 or 12 right now. Uh, but yeah, no. When I first heard it, Jan on Twitter.
Yeah,
He's like, so he like tried to get me to listen to this for like 2 3 weeks after it came out because I never really got around to it. So when I started, like at the beginning, like you said, it's like a different sort of like vibe to the album. It's so like super like energetic, like exciting type songs. So like listening to songs like Maza, which is like one of my favorite songs this year, by the way. I was like, okay, so this is what the album's gonna be like. All right, second half hits. I'm like, holy bro,
yeah,
he just like he just went in this completely different direction. It was like it was so depressing listening to some of these songs because like he was like super like vulnerable and he was just like it was tough like
yeah,
hearing like what he had to say. And I thought it was really interesting how he like added both like those styles or both dynamics into the same album. And like you can tell it's sort of like a break halfway through where like it completely switches,
yeah.
which I think is really cool and was executed really well. But yeah, no, a lot of these songs I still have in rotation, like especially the one with Skepta
Hmm.
and Maza with Rocky. Those are definitely my top two favorites off that dope album. I'm gonna listen to like listen to it in full again because I think it's been a good amount of time since I've like sat down and listened to the whole thing front to back. But yeah, good
Definitely,
pick.
definitely worth another listen.
Then at number one, I got Death and the Music, Death and the Magician, by Rome Streets and DJ Muggs. This one came out earlier this year. Rome Streets is like a pretty underground rapper. He's been making moves recently though. Like he's starting to get the recognition he deserves. But yeah, no, this is a super dope album. Not too long. DJ Muggs has been on a roll this year. He's produced like so many projects already, and his production fits really well with Rome's like rapping. It's like super gritty and like slow, but it's like it's hard hitting. You know.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, he's one of my favorite MCs right now. He like I don't know his delivery is just always on point. He has dope lyricism and his like cadence and presence on the mic, just everything. It just makes I don't know. It's just a he's so like interesting because like I always wanted like more from him,
hmm,
because like he has like unlimited potential, which I really like about him. My favorite tracks are probably the manuscript or shooting at the dance hall. Um, yeah, really cool tracks and like there's some like wacky production on this, some songs, and he makes them work super well. Like he just adapts to like almost anything. He's like the most underrated perfect MC, if you will. So yeah,
I've seen you praising this one on Twitter, so I gave it a first listen the other day. But I don't know a lot about it yet. I don't even know much about him in general, but I thought the album was pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of Griselda in a way, but with some different type of production. And yeah, I mean, it seems like it's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna have to give it a few more listens to fully appreciate like the lyricism and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't have any complaints off the first listen. It was pretty easy to get through, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, for me this has been my album of the year since I first heard it. And probably his best for me, but he's got a lot of dope projects. He's got a project called Joy Area, which is super dope. I think the production on that might be slightly better.
Hmm.
He also got Noise Candy 3 and 4, which are also some dope projects. They're all of his stuff aren't too long either, so it's pretty easy to listen to and get through all of his stuff. So yeah, like this. I feel like this is a really good introduction to him, and you should definitely like if like this grows on you with a few more listens, you should definitely like check out his other stuff because so he has a lot to offer, and he's going to be like the next big thing in hip hop.
For sure, I'm definitely gonna listen through a few more times. I'm excited to check it out. All right, my number one comes from honestly like this is people will be like, how the hell is this number one?
Bro.
But this is a dope ass album. Like I love it so much. It's from an artist I met on Twitter, which is crazy, but I thought it deserves all the praise that I've given it. It's Dende's album, A Happy Man. Just really impressed by this from the first listen. This came out in early May. It hasn't. I mean, it's definitely gained some traction because he's still a pretty small artist. He's only up to like 25,000 monthly listeners now, but he was at like 5,000 when this came out. And someone told me to listen to it, and I was just stunned by how good this is, and like how like we've mentioned a few times like how vulnerable an artist can be on an album. This is probably the most vulnerable I've ever heard someone be on an album, and the instrumentation is fantastic. Every level of this is really really well done. Two dope Chris Patrick features on there. Byrie did a really good job with her feature as well. John Sway, Alzar, they all really did a great job. And yeah, there's a lot of really like only 10 tracks, 25 minutes, but I listen to this album all the time. It's just such great tracks. If anyone hasn't heard this one, definitely start with Phone Number. It's featuring Chris Patrick and Byrie. Awesome track. A Happy Man is a good one as well. It's the intro track. And I Cried is like super vulnerable, really well done. It's just I absolutely love this album.
Is this the one with the yellow album cover?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I've seen this on Twitter. I've seen like a lot of people have been praising it. I just have not listened to it yet, but from the way you described it, it sounds like amazing, bro.
Yeah,
So
I've put it on to a lot of different people, and everybody says that they absolutely love it. Like they can't stop playing it as well. So I'd recommend it to everybody. Like it's phenomenal.
yeah, definitely. I think someone else recommended it to me too, but I just like never got around to it. But yeah, no, I'm gonna definitely check it out. You said there's two Chris Patrick features on it,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, I like Chris Patrick a lot, so yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out. See if it's an album of the year contender. But
yeah,
no, that's a dope pick, and yeah, I think that's our both of our top 10 lists.
yeah. It
So
is. And if you guys
one
haven't
thing,
checked out
um,
any of those albums, definitely jump into them because I mean, like I feel like if either of us listen to them, they're worth your time to check out because I'm sure there's a lot of other dope projects that have come out this year that we may have forgotten or haven't added yet or something like that. But feel free to let us know what you guys are thinking of these picks. I'd love to hear what you guys have thought as well. I think the Pierre Bourne album might get close to my list as well. Once I listened to it a few more times, I actually liked that album, but I guess you did not.
yeah, that's a pile of mid for me, but I actually was surprised that you didn't have Roadrunner in your top 10. I thought you were a pretty big Brockhampton fan.
I don't want to talk about that actually, but yeah, that one fell off the. Yeah, I don't like that album anymore, but I like Brockhampton a lot, and I have plenty to say about that album, but I won't say I don't want to drop a lot of negativity in this. So,
All right, no, I feel you. Yeah, was a was a pretty average album for me too. I never nothing really stood out to me. One thing, but like after hearing your list too. one thing that like really stands out about this year is like how much noise the underground has been making.
Yeah.
Because like what I think 50% of both our lists, maybe even more, are all underground projects from like lesser known artists, and that just shows that like you don't really need like a bunch of mainstream like artists to like be consistently dropping to still have like great music,
Right.
which I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Like, you know how I always see these tweets like, oh, this year's been so boring, like, oh, there's been nothing dropping. Like, yeah, no, there's so much good stuff. If you like want to find good music, you will find it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's like super interesting to see.
Yeah, I think like, a lot of the followers you have on Twitter may come from like a more general like point of view where they haven't gone into like the underground scene and stuff like that. And I think everybody should because like honestly some of the artists that I've seen on Twitter even like Dende, Chris Patrick, Byrie, like I just mentioned all them with like everyone who went to like Sanctuary section sessions as well. Like all those guys are creating really really good music, and I think like there's gonna be a switch in music sooner than people think because like the mainstream is at a weird spot right now. There's a transition period because Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake, they're getting near the end of their career. Kanye's basically gone, so like someone
Hmm.
is gonna step up. It doesn't, a lot of people have picked out like Lil Baby to be like the one that's like taking the throne or whatever, but
Hmm.
it could be anybody. It could be Chris Patrick. He's getting praise from Punch now. Like it could
Yeah, I
be.
saw that. That was crazy, bro. He got a punch cosign. That was awesome.
So yeah, shout out to the
Yeah,
underground. There's a lot of good stuff this year.
yeah. And the main thing is you got to be open-minded, because like I definitely understand the feeling of going into something that that like, I know nothing about, not knowing what to expect, and it's sort of like it's like a sort of weird feeling. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to like it. Do I even want to listen to this? That type of stuff. But if you like really want to find some good music, if you because there's a lot of good stuff out there, just give stuff a chance. And if you've heard about something in a negative way but haven't listened, don't let the opinions of others influence how you're going to go into listening to this album or like your opinions on it at all. Just listen to the stuff that you see that you want to listen to and form your opinion, see what you like because it's a lot of dope stuff out there that I feel like a lot of people are missing out on.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to the abstract hip hop scene as well. Definitely something I think
Hell
is
yeah.
gonna come up and take over, but maybe it never will. I don't know.
I feel like in a few years they'll make more noise, but I feel like they're always like that whole scene is always going to be sort of like underground
Yeah,
because it has like it's sort of like a
it's
I don't
something you
know,
have
sort of
to let
like
grow on you. It's a
it's
lot
like an
slower kind
acquired
of.
taste, I
Yeah.
guess. That sounds nerdy saying that,
Well, they don't really have
but
hooks in their tracks, so
yeah, I mean it's like I don't know. It has like their fan base. Like a lot of people won't like it, and that's understandable. And there's a lot of people who are obsessed with this. So like I feel like it'll always be like sort of an underground type movement, but
yeah,
super dope. It's really exciting to see what's coming out of that scene.
absolutely. So yeah, like I said, let us know what you guys, what albums you think deserve to be in our list or whatever. We're happy to hear it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll be back for episode 4.
Yep. Peace out. Thank you
Peace.
for listening.